Perfect World, Episode 183. Shi Hao's dominance in the face of overwhelming odds is simply breathtaking. Just when you think he's pushed to his limit, he shatters expectations and unleashes even more devastating power. Witness the epic showdown as Shi Hao faces the seemingly invincible Dark Sun, a being of unimaginable strength and resilience. See how Shi Hao's unwavering determination and strategic brilliance lead him to uncover the Dark Sun's weaknesses and push him to the brink of destruction. With heart-pounding action and awe-inspiring displays of power, this episode is a must-watch for any fan of epic battles and thrilling anime. Don't miss out on the stunning conclusion to this monumental clash. Click to watch now and experience the jaw-dropping power of Shi Hao as he defies all odds and emerges victorious. Do you know how terrifying the physical body of the Dark Sun is? Shi Hao cut him into pieces, yet he was able to reassemble in a bizarre way. Even after his head was severed, he remained alive. In the previous episode, the strongest successor of the temple, Gumeng, was defeated by the Dark Sun, used by him as cannon fodder. He thought Shi Hao hadn't cultivated immortal energy, but when he saw the immortal energy swirling around Shi Hao's body, he panicked. He wanted to flee, but Shi Hao's spiritual form was already wielding the Daluo immortal sword. Despite using all his power, Gumeng was unable to resist and was ultimately beheaded by Shi Hao, dying in terror and unwillingness. After reuniting with his true form, Shi Hao Linsheng fought against the Dark Sun again, while simultaneously sending a domineering voice transmission in all directions, inviting challengers. The crowd watching the battle was shocked by Shi Hao's powerful presence. Just moments before, he had beheaded the strongest successor of the temple, Gumeng, and now he was loudly addressing his challengers, unafraid of any group attack. His unmatched power and invincible confidence were undeniable. Suddenly, the void shattered as the Dark Sun's true form clashed with Shi Hao. Beyond that, immortal energy also swirled around the Dark Sun's body. Some gazed at the battlefield in terror, their hearts trembling as they saw vague figures with white strands of immortal energy emerging from their bodies. Witnessing this for the first time, many could not help but cry out in shock, their eyes filled with fanaticism. It surpassed anything from the ancient predecessors, confirming that they had taken that crucial step. Previously, in the battle between Shi Hao and the Temple Sun, the battlefield was shrouded in murderous intent, making it impossible to see any immortal energy, even though some speculated they had taken that step. However, it had never been confirmed. The military had firmly claimed that neither Shi Hao nor the Temple Sun had succeeded, leading many to dismiss the notion. But now, seeing it with their own eyes, some acknowledged that the Temple Sun did not die in vain. Shi Hao had long since taken that step. As for the Dark Sun cultivating immortal energy, no one was surprised given his extraordinary background. Some speculated he might have been a powerful figure from the ancient era, preserved underground after his fall. On the battlefield, Shi Hao and the Dark Sun continued to clash, with runes exploding like stars. Suddenly, an assassin from the Heavenly Kingdom silently appeared behind Shi Hao, attempting to deliver a fatal blow. However, something shocking happened. The blood-dripping divine sword trembled as it neared Shi Hao's body, with a mist of immortal energy clinging to his surface. The sword shook violently under immense pressure, and despite wanting to retreat, the assassin pressed on, unwilling to give up his one chance. But with a cracking sound, the dark red divine sword broke into several pieces, turning into dust. The assassin was shocked, finally realizing how terrifying it was to cultivate immortal energy. It was clear that Shi Hao had turned around, but even with his back facing the assassin, he remained unharmed. In the next moment, the assassin tried to escape, but a slight pressure from Shi Hao's back left him breathless. No matter how he struggled, it was futile. With a soft sound, the assassin turned into a pool of blood, leaving nothing behind. The spectators were dumbfounded, their backs chilled. They finally understood how terrifying it was to take that step. It was evident that Shi Hao didn't even take the Heavenly Kingdom assassins seriously. The battle with the Dark Sun continued, as if he was stuck to Shi Hao like a scarecrow hanging behind him. In the intense clash, the Dark Sun suddenly disintegrated, At the same time, Shi Hao and the Dark Sun clashed palms through the air, with a sound like the ringing of immortal bones. The spectators were thrown backward, their blood surging, and many coughed up blood. It was the first time Shi Hao had encountered such a being, realizing that his opponent's body was beyond the existing realm. When attacked, the Dark Sun's body could automatically release runes to counterattack, with terrifying speed and power. Shi Hao launched a punch, with runes blooming like a falling galaxy, showcasing his unmatched divine power. However, the Dark Sun advanced without fear, his muscles boiling and his body glowing on its own in the area struck by Shi Hao's fist. A burst of red light shot toward Shi Hao, but he teleported, unleashing multiple divine skills to strike the Dark Sun. Yet, each strike against the Dark Sun's body produced metallic sounds as sparks flew, but no damage could be done. The Dark Sun's body seemed to have a treasure tree sealed within every inch, blooming ancient texts whenever attacked. Even Shi Hao felt helpless, realizing he couldn't harm such a monstrous opponent. In all his past battles, his unparalleled physical strength allowed him to overpower his enemies. But now he faced an indestructible opponent, one whose body could release treasure trees. The gap between them was vast and unimaginable. Shi Hao realized that the Dark Sun had taken that step, achieving something few could imagine. As the battle raged, the Dark Sun mocked Shi Hao, calling him a mere insect daring to dance wildly before him. He ridiculed Shi Hao for relying on a primordial spirit, stating that the immortal energy on Shi Hao's body wasn't even cultivated by him, but was nourished by his body itself. The Dark Sun declared that no one in this immortal valley could kill him, and that battling him would only lead to one's demise. In the next moment, the Dark Sun's entire arm transformed into a black divine sword, with his body becoming the sword's hilt as dark energy permeated the air. He slashed toward Shi Hao, who teleported, summoning the Kunpeng wings behind him as yin and yang energies flowed, releasing chaotic mist that filled the heavens. With a deafening boom, the two clashed, the void shattered, and sword energy surged. The Dark Sun's entire body lit up as treasure trees bloomed, sweeping toward Shi Hao. But this time, Shi Hao's Kunpeng and Crimson power were too overwhelming, striking every part of the Dark Sun's body, causing even more treasure trees to be released. It was clear that Shi Hao was probing the Dark Sun's body, searching for a weakness among the terrifying runes. Dark clouds loomed, treasure trees intertwined, and the Dark Sun's body began chanting scriptures, creating an atmosphere of sheer terror. The Dark Sun struck toward Shi Hao, but Shi Hao teleported once again, continuing to activate the treasure tree. He unleashed all the thunder, engulfing the Dark Sun's body, which suddenly seemed to ignite, brilliantly shining. It must be said, Shi Hao was very confident. At this moment, he wasn't focused on how to kill his opponent, but rather on uncovering the secret of the Dark Sun's body, which had piqued his immense interest. The Dark Sun's body, by mere instinct, could annihilate groups of geniuses, making it innately undefeated. Soon, Shi Hao noticed that certain parts of the Dark Sun's body hadn't lit up, and no runes had emerged. This was clearly the result of his full-scale attack. Shi Hao speculated that this might be his opponent's weakest point. With this in mind, he gathered all his strength, preparing for a fierce assault. At that moment, Shi Hao appeared as if clad in golden armor. Golden feathers like divine swords, numbering 100,000, surrounded him. They were incredibly sacred, like treasures emerging from the world, shaking the golden spirit realm. Shi Hao let out a powerful cry, and the immortal energy around him surged. The 100,000 golden divine feathers expanded rapidly, each seeming to stand between heaven and earth. They intertwined, forming the laws of the universe, becoming a massive sword furnace that enveloped the Dark Sun. In the next moment, endless sword energy surged, like sword flames and fire, burning within the furnace. Countless arrows shot out from the furnace, all striking the Dark Sun's body, causing sparks to fly everywhere. The spectators were pale with disbelief at the sight of the Dark Sun's terrifying body, capable of withstanding so much sword energy. A figure charged forward, punching toward the sword furnace and glowing with endless treasure trees blocking the attack. Then, with a soft command from Shi Hao, the sword furnace changed, transforming into primordial sword energy that attacked the dim areas of the Dark Sun's body. At the same time, Shi Hao moved, accompanied by the 100,000 golden divine feathers, all charging toward the Dark Sun. The Dark Sun laughed coldly, mocking Shi Hao for thinking he had figured him out and could kill him. His entire body exploded with dark light, as immortal energy fused with his form, resembling a black sun. The previously dim areas of his body now lit up, brighter than the sun. A streak of red light flew from one area, transforming into a small red bell that rushed toward Shi Hao. This bell was not a physical object, but was formed by laws, its sound shattering decorations in the void and causing blood to flow from the 7 orifices of the spectators, who rapidly retreated in shock. The small red bell rang again, but this time it wasn't sound waves. It was sword energy. The bell's rim transformed into countless small swords, releasing strange ripples, charging madly toward Shi Hao. Soon, people recognized it as the long-lost fallen soul tree. No one expected that the Dark Sun's body would contain such a treasure tree. The crowd wondered what kind of figure the Dark Sun had been in the past. Rumors said the fallen soul art was very sinister, capable of severing primordial spirits. Even divine bodies and physical shells couldn't stop it. And it was clear that what had just happened was merely a ripple of its true power. The Dark Sun's power was so immense that it could injure even the weak spectators at the edge of the battlefield. Imagine the impact on those at the center of the battle, where the primordial spirit could dissipate, meaning total annihilation. The Dark Sun sneered, mocking Shi Hao's belief that the dim areas of his body were weak points. "You are wrong," he said. "Those are the places where I can effortlessly summon treasure trees. They are my strongest points." However, even the strongest points couldn't stop Shi Hao. Calmly, he activated the only sky cave, reinforcing it with the Thunder Emperor's treasure art and Kunpeng techniques to block the Dark Sun's terrifying treasure trees. Immediately after, Shi Hao added the supreme heavenly light to it. With a mighty cry, the only sky cave obliterated the small bell entirely, and light beams rushed toward the Dark Sun. Despite this, the Dark Sun's monstrous body bloomed with treasure trees, blocking Shi Hao's power. Undeterred, Shi Hao said with determination, "I don't believe your indestructibility can last forever. Come on, others may fear you, but to me you're nothing. If not for an eternal slumber, I could swallow 108,000 of you in one breath." At that moment, the Dark Sun revealed his true form, clad in black armor, with a sickly yet beautiful pale face. With a cry, he charged forward, and the two figures collided fiercely, traversing the heavens and earth. The Dark Sun mocked Shi Hao for attacking his body, trying to exhaust his strength. "You're going to be disappointed," he sneered. "My body is unparalleled, and it will never run dry." The Dark Sun, curious about Shi Hao's strength, admitted he was disappointed by what he found. "Let's not waste any more time," he said. "Show me what you've got. Your treasure trees are many, but they are only engraved into your flesh, unable to manifest before me. Your body, although extraordinary, is just a humanoid corpse, not something I could boil and consume. In other words, you are useless. You are nothing but trash." As soon as Shi Hao heard this, his gaze grew icy, and even the spectators were stunned. A divine sword appeared in Shi Hao's hand, evolved from the reincarnation treasure tree, the supreme heavenly light, and a third innate supreme art. As soon as the sword appeared, the wind and clouds shifted, causing the entire world to tremble. The immortal energy around Shi Hao wrapped around the sword, making it even more extraordinary. With Kunpeng's speed and lightning wings, Shi Hao's speed was beyond comprehension. As they clashed, parts of the Dark Sun began to bleed, and even some areas were pierced. In the end, the Dark Sun spat out a mouthful of filthy blood and flew through the air, seriously injured. Shi Hao mocked him, saying, "Just a corpse, and you dare act arrogant before me? Your arrogance is beyond belief. Who do you think you are?" With that, Shi Hao dove down again, the divine sword scattering runes, striking the vital points of the Dark Sun. Though the Dark Sun used his great abilities to defend himself, he was no match for Shi Hao's relentless assault. The Dark Sun, despite his immense abilities, found it hard to stop Shi Hao's relentless attacks. Roaring loudly, the Dark Sun launched a spiritual attack, but Shi Hao, resolute, activated the heavenly wheel, prepared to dissolve any incoming strike. Although battered, the Dark Sun's body could still retaliate, which was truly shocking. In response, Shi Hao took out the great Luo immortal sword, and with his right hand wielding a divine sword formed by his supreme techniques, both swords moved with unstoppable force. Even at this point, the two battled for 500 rounds, and Shi Hao severed the Dark Sun's right arm, sending black blood spraying out. As the severed arm attempted to reattach, Shi Hao quickly sliced it into pieces. With both swords moving, Shi Hao further damaged the Dark Sun's body, eventually cutting him in half at the waist. The upper half of the body flew off, but then a chanting sound echoed from the void. At the edge of the world, a vague figure sat meditating, reciting barely audible scriptures. Soon everyone felt their souls tremble, unable to resist the urge to worship. Someone recognized the Nine Heavens' True Earth scripture from the temple, and it became clear the figure was the ancient Holy Sun. Shi Hao, undeterred, called out, "Come if you dare. Anyone who comes, I will cut down." He then dove toward the Dark Sun's chest while resisting the scripture. The Dark Sun's sinister body continued to regenerate even his severed limbs, but Shi Hao was unfazed. Merging both swords, he decapitated the Dark Sun, sending the headless body flying as black blood spilled everywhere. Sword energy surged and cold light flashed, and even someone as powerful as the Dark Sun had now lost his head. The spectators stood in stunned silence, not daring to breathe. But the battle wasn't over. The Dark Sun's body, despite being torn apart, still glowed, and treasure trees bloomed, all striking the great Luo immortal sword. Unafraid, Shi Hao swiftly severed the Dark Sun's body again, cutting it into multiple pieces in an instant. With a deafening roar, a row of 108 massive mountains, formed by runes and linked together like a sea of stars, descended from the void, crushing down on Shi Hao. The ancient Holy Sun, still chanting in the void, had not yet arrived but was using the scripture to prevent Shi Hao from killing the Dark Sun. Shi Hao's gaze turned icy as he shattered all the scripture runes, causing them to explode in the void. The spectators were astonished, recognizing the legendary Nine Heavens' True Earth scripture from the temple. Although the ancient Holy Sun was only reciting the opening, it exuded terrifying pressure. While some expected the true form of the ancient Holy Sun to descend for a great showdown, many were amazed by Shi Hao's dominance. Even when faced with enemies on all sides, he wasn't afraid to challenge multiple ancient prodigies at once, showcasing his heroic courage. No matter the outcome of the battle, it was clear that Shi Hao, or Wang Zhiming, would shake the entire immortal world. After shattering the ancient Holy Sun scripture, Shi Hao charged at the Dark Sun once more, further dismembering his body to prevent it from reforming. The crowd was incredulous. The once indestructible Dark Sun was now being chopped into pieces by Shi Hao, with only his head remaining, retreating and trying to escape. Suddenly, a group of powerful warriors appeared, attempting to save the Dark Sun. However, with one swift sweep of Shi Hao's sword, accompanied by pure white immortal energy, the warriors were cut in half, their bodies shattering and turning into blood. In one fluid motion, Shi Hao swung his sword thousands of times, chopping the Dark Sun's body into countless pieces. Finally, he aimed his sword directly at the head, continuing to hack at it. After a series of strikes, the Dark Sun's head finally cracked open. Everyone watched in horror, wondering if this truly was the end of the Dark Sun. With a loud cry, Shi Hao unleashed the most terrifying strike with the great Luo immortal sword, immortal energy swirling and sword light roaring. With a squelching sound, the Dark Sun's head was finally obliterated completely,